The conflicting objective of trying to be commercial to make money, and at the same time trying to achieve that social objective. So where do we draw the line? Do we want to go all out to make money, or do we want to help the community in the educational upliftment?
In the early days, in my view, my personal view, there were few key roles that AMP can contribute. One is as a mobilizer of resources, attracting people and talent, not just within the Malay Muslim community, but outside, for those who have a desire to help the community, which is, of course, having a lot of disadvantages. So as a mobilizer, and then also as a thinker, thinking of new ideas, thinking of new things to do, because we have access to resources of people who are experienced in their own life, in their own corporate career. They can bring new ideas as a thinker. And then executing, right? Executing new ideas, trying it out, and then if it works, allow others to do it on a bigger scale. It cannot be just the provider of service. That's where RIMA comes in.
When we started as a research department in AMP, we were very much focused on supporting the educational programs, one. Secondly, the socioeconomic upliftment programs, and largely, looking at how we can support the community development, right? So the whole idea of the trust in research then was to augment the programs in those areas that I mentioned by way of providing the thoughts, the thinking behind how these programs can be better implemented using perhaps more contemporary solutions and all that.
I remember there was a social action committee also who can provide real empirical information working with RIMA. They're the ones who assisted these people on the ground. So RIMA was a go-to organization to provide in-depth research information for activities.
But we went on further, having formed RIMA and having got a lot of leverage from the society, the community, and also the research community in Singapore through collaborative work and all that, to explore into new areas, right? And new areas around what they call social benchmarking for the Malays vis-a-vis the national Singapore community. So we moved into such areas, social benchmarking. We went in depth into educational research as well, because there's never an end game in educational research. I remember when we venture out to the community, there was a lot of goodwill from Malay Muslim organizations to come and want to work with us. It's a lot to do with what they call getting the support from other organizations, and also having a presence in the research landscape in Singapore then, right? For example, we marry up with World Bank, we marry up with NUS, to work on certain projects useful to the community and also benefiting the larger society in Singapore. So I think we've created a presence in that research landscape then, which I think is a big achievement, because the Malay voice, the Malay community's voice was never there in the research landscape in Singapore then.
When we started MERCU, there were some of us who were either as directors of AMP or in the management council of AMP, management committee of AMP, and we wanted to expand some of the existing programs. I mean, before that, AMP we had one preschool at Tembusu, and we already had adult education programs done at Tembusu as well. So when MERCU was realized, we wanted to expand the programs. Yeah, so we started childcare centers. Then we also had programs like parenting programs. Yeah, we call it Parent School, where we have programs for parents to help them, to equip them with their children's education and upbringing. We also had aftercare school program. I think we started with one school in Bedok Chai Chee area. I think we were among the first to start, career development programs for adults. In preschool, we wanted to see more preschools being done, but we don't have the resources. So we saw that the mosques were interested to start preschools as well. We thought that we have developed quite a good experience in preschool and also the curriculum. And the curriculum was somewhat developed together with a researcher from NTUC Childcare. So we had developed a good curriculum and program. So we wanted to share this with the mosque preschool. We had about 7 of the mosques that took up the program. And it became like a franchise scheme whereby they used the AMP brand, AMP preschool brand. And then we developed the program, we trained the teachers, and then we also do audit. So we make sure that they maintain the standard of the preschool. After, I think it was a 3-year contract. And after that, once they are ready to go on their own, then they are free to go on their own. I think that was the spirit then in the early days of MERCU. We were the pioneers, we get things started. Once we see that others have picked up the program, we will move on with other programs. The AMP board have given us that scope, that objective of trying to commercialize what we were doing. So that was interesting. It was an interesting idea. The conflicting objective of trying to be commercial to make money, and at the same time trying to achieve that social objective. So where do we draw the line? Do we want to go all out to make money, or do we want to help the community in the educational upliftment? Because of this change in objective, I think MERCU became more commercialized, and profit was an important factor. And I think as a result of that also, we move away from just being a program for Malay Muslims to a program which is open to all. The fact that MERCU is still there till today and have expanded their programs quite a bit, I think is quite an achievement.